Amanda, do you want to hear a song about penguins that I wrote?
Penguins. You wrote it. Bring it on.
Let's do it. Penguins swimming in the frosty sea. Southern hemisphere is where you're meant to be.
Okay.
Flippers help you to glide.
Ooh.
Swiftly through the icy tide.
Jen, that's the best penguin song I've ever heard.
The best?
Yes.
Because it's the only penguin song in the world. This just in from Snapnews. 14 African penguins caught exploring the Singapore Zoo. Hello, I'm Jen.
And I'm Amanda. Today we're talking all about penguins. But first, we'll go over an unusual article about our aquatic avian allies.
Then we'll uncover some vocabulary, learn a new grammar rule, and investigate the etymology of our word of the day. Let's get started.
Let's go! The Singapore Zoo's 14 African penguins have started a new routine. The zoo closed its doors to the public for the first time in history, and that's to help curb the spread of COVID-19.
Yep, and part of a new set of enrichment programs planned by Wildlife Reserves Singapore, the penguins have been released from their enclosure to explore the zoo's other spaces. The excursions happen 2 to 3 times a week and are limited to 20 minutes an outing.
Found across the southwestern rocky coast of Africa, this breed of penguin is able to tolerate higher temperatures than other penguin species. However, the penguins are only brought out between 8 and 10 o'clock in the morning to meet the hot, scorching Singapore sun.
It is really hot here, and the penguins' temperatures are constantly monitored by looking at the pinkness of their eye glands, which darken if their body temperature gets too high.
The penguins have waddled around the zoo to visit its playground, the sea lion statues, the orangutan island, and they also played with beach obstacles in the sandpit and swam lengths in the pool.
That is so cute, and I love this great story. So, a serious question, Amanda. Who do you think is a penguin's favorite relative?
Favorite relative? I don't know. I have no idea.
Ready for this? Their Aunt Antarctica, of course.
Jen!
Moving swiftly on, according to the Worldwide Fund for Nature, there are up to 19 species of penguins.
Hold on, what's a species?
Species is a word used to describe a group of closely related living things. Almost all species of penguins live in the southern hemisphere. The Galapagos penguin is the only species that ventures north of the equator in the wild.
I see. So, how many species live in Antarctica?
There is Adelie, Chinstrap, Emperor, and Gentoo. Penguins are the 4 true Antarctic species, while king, macaroni, rockhopper, penguins are considered sub-Antarctic species. Depending on which categorization you are using, the answer is either 4 or 7.
That is really truly so cool. So I'm sure you know that unlike other birds, penguins, they cannot fly. But do you know why?
Because they're not tall enough to be pilots?
No. Penguins, they have adapted tapered flippers which are better for swimming.
I guess you could say things go swimmingly for our flightless friends.
Exactly. Speaking of which, have you ever looked at a penguin's feet?
Yeah, it's so weird. Their feet is like glued together.
True. Penguins, they have webbed feet like a duck. But did you know that the penguin-legged feet, they have evolved to help them lose as little heat as possible? Because penguins, they have special blood circulation in their legs and feet that act like some kind of antifreeze, and that helps them to keep them just warm enough to not freeze in frigid temperatures.
Who would have thought? Those little legs do so much. I guess their waddle is worth the trade-off for warm feet.
I agree so much. I totally choose walking funny over freezing any day.
A serious question though. Do you know which 2 penguin species are endangered?
Endangered? Do you mean almost non-existent?
Precisely.
Let's see. I'm going to go with the African and the Galapagos penguins.
You are unfortunately correct. Both of those species are considered endangered by the Worldwide Fund for Nature. Luckily, the 14 African penguins at the Singapore Zoo are well taken care of, which is a great news for them.
Speaking of which...
Ooh, speaking of which...
Well, I guess I am now. Anyway, when we were reading the article, I noticed that the author, he used the word which, and it reminded me of a grammar rule.
Do tell.
Okay, so which is a pronoun determiner. It can be used to add new elements to a sentence that are not necessarily needed. For example, the first part of this sentence from the article can actually stand alone because the which clause doesn't really change the meaning of the rest of the sentence. It is non-defining.
So let's see if I can think of an example.
Okay.
Would I love Sentosa, which is where the merlion is, work?
That would. However, using which gets more complicated when you use it in the middle of the sentence because it depends on what you're trying to say.
So let's take a look at a couple of sentences, right? My house that has a gold door needs a new roof.
Alright.
Means you could have more than one house, but only the one with the gold door needs a new roof. Meaning, that has a gold door is a defining clause.
Well, the second one means the house needs a new roof, regardless of what color the door is. So the color of the door is just extra information, right?
Yes, that is right. So let's try another one. Okay. What I want to say is, some of the classrooms were painted over the break, and those painted classrooms are bright and cheerful.
I'm going to go with which.
Remember, which only works if the clause is non-defining. I'm trying to say only the classrooms that were painted are bright and cheerful, not all of them.
Oops, sorry. I changed my mind now. The clause is defining, so it should be that.
That's better. For what I'm trying to say, that would be correct.
So, Jen, I don't know about you, but I've been dying to tell them the word of the day. Today's word, which I have been dying to tell you guys, has a neat history.
Aha, I'll see what you did there. Let's do it. Our word of the day is zoo.
The prefix zoo or zoo refers to animals and animal life. It is derived from the Greek zoon, meaning animal. For example, zoology is the study of animals, zoophobia is the fear of animals, and zoological describes things related to zoology.
A zoo is what we call a place with a collection of wild animals. Zoos allow us to view animals from around the world. They're also used as spaces to study animals and protect species that are endangered.
Zoo is actually an abbreviation of the words zoological garden. It was originally applied in the mid-19th century to England's London Zoo in Regent's Park. Founded in 1828, it was the world's first scientific zoo.
If a zoo or part of a zoo has a specific collection of animals, the collection may have its own term. For example, an aquarium is a collection of aquatic animals or sea creatures, and an aviary is a collection of avian creatures or birds.
So, what you're trying to say is that a children's zoo is a collection of children?
No.
Jen, I know, I'm being silly. A children's zoo is a place with a collection of animals for children to view.
Today's article was all about the 14 African penguins exploring the Singapore Zoo.
And we also learned 5 new vocabulary words, that is, species, flipper, webbed, waddle, and endangered.
Exactly, and in our grammar lesson, we mastered when to use which and when to use that in a sentence.
That's right. If it's a non-defining clause, remember to use which. But if it's a defining clause, use that.
And let's not forget what we learned about our word of the day, and that is zoo.
Zoo. Do you mean zoological gardens?
Exactly, but who calls it that anymore?
I guess that's all for today, guys. Thank you for joining us.
Exactly, we'll see you next time with a new piece of
Snap News.